The last bid. Maya Chen's magnetic boots clanked against the corroded deck of Outpost 7, a sprawling salvage station that hung like a tarnished jewel in the outer rim of human space. The air recyclers wheezed, struggling to process the mixture of engine exhaust and questionable food cart aromas that permeated every corner of the station. She adjusted the tool belt at her waist, feeling the reassuring weight of her nano-spanner and diagnostic array. 20 years of salvage engineering had taught her to trust her instincts, and something about today felt different. The auction manifest had listed a ship of unknown origin, discovered drifting in the Epsilon sector. The preliminary scans showed energy signatures that defied conventional analysis. "You're really going for that wreck, aren't you?" The gravelly voice belonged to Raj Kumar, a fellow salvager who had worked the rim for longer than Maya had been alive. His cybernetic eye whirred as it focused on her face. "Some things are better left floating in the void, Chen." Maya smiled, used to the superstitious warnings that circulated through the salvage community. "The void's gotten crowded lately, Raj. Besides, did you see those quantum fluctuation readings? That's not standard tech." The auction bay stretched before them, a cavernous space filled with the skeletal remains of ships from across known space. Maya's attention fixed on Bay 17, where her target waited. Even from a distance, the vessel's design was striking. Smooth lines that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. No visible weapon ports or engine exhausts, yet clearly capable of faster-than-light travel. "Lot 2187, announced the automated auctioneer, its holographic form flickering. "Origin unknown. Class undefined. Structural integrity at 82%. Starting bid, 50,000 credits." The crowd muttered. It was a steep price for an unknown vessel, especially one that 3 different salvage crews had already abandoned after failing to access its systems. Maya activated her datapad, transferring her life savings into the bidding account. She had scraped together every credit, selling her apartment on Mars and liquidating her equipment cache. 75,000, called out a voice. Maya recognized the insignia of the Corporate Salvage Federation, vultures who stripped ships for military applications. 100,000, Maya countered, her heart racing. The crowd parted, staring at the human woman who dared to challenge the Federation. 150,000. The Federation representative shot back, his augmented voice carrying a note of warning. Maya took a deep breath. 200,000. It was everything she had, plus the loan she'd secured against future salvage rights. One shot at something extraordinary. The Federation rep's face darkened. He touched his comm implant, presumably receiving instructions. After a tense moment, he stepped back. The automated auctioneer's countdown began. Sold to independent salvager Chen. Maya. Bay 17 access granted. Payment processed. As the crowd dispersed, Maya approached her purchase. Up close, the hull material was even more fascinating. A lattice of what appeared to be programmable matter, decades ahead of current technology. She pressed her hand against it, feeling a subtle vibration. "Congratulations," Raj said, appearing beside her. "Or condolences. Hard to tell with these mystery ships." He handed her a data crystal. "Found this in the archives. Previous salvage attempts. Might save you some trouble." Maya pocketed the crystal. "Thanks, Raj. Any other wisdom to share?" The old salvager's cybernetic eye pulsed. "Just this. That ship's been waiting for something. Or someone. Make sure it's really you it wants." Maya spent the next hours preparing for boarding. Her diagnostic suite revealed no radiation leaks or toxic atmospheres, but the ship's internal layout remained frustratingly opaque to scans. She assembled her basic exploration kit, atmospheric sensors, universal power supply, and her prized possession, a quantum interface decoder she'd built herself. As she worked through the airlock protocols, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that the ship was watching her, not with cameras or sensors, but with something more fundamental. The hull's vibration had changed frequency, becoming almost musical. The inner airlock door opened with a whisper, revealing corridors that seemed to absorb her helmet lights. The architecture was organic, flowing in ways that suggested the ship had been grown rather than built. Her boots left no marks on the floor material, which seemed to actively resist damage. Maya's handheld scanner detected power signatures throughout the ship, but they appeared to shift and relocate whenever she tried to pin them down. It was like trying to map a living organism. She made her way toward what appeared to be a central chamber, following the strengthening vibrations. The chamber door recognized her presence, rising open without any input from her tools. Inside, a single pedestal rose from the floor, its surface covered in symbols that seemed to change when viewed directly. Maya approached carefully, her scanner recording everything. She reached out to touch the pedestal, and the ship came alive. Lights rippled through the walls like bioluminescence. The symbols on the pedestal rearranged themselves into recognizable patterns, mathematical constants, atomic structures, universal constants, a language of pure science. Identity confirmed, announced a voice that seemed to emerge from the ship itself. Human variant detected. Quantum resonance signature accepted. Initiating primary protocol. Maya stepped back as a holographic display materialized above the pedestal. It showed star charts she didn't recognize, technical specifications for impossible technologies, and at its center, a pulsing core of light that seemed to reach into her mind. "Welcome, engineer," the voice continued. "I am the Algorithmic Temporal Research and Analysis System. You may call me Atlas. We have much to discuss, and very little time." Maya Chen, who had spent her life searching for technological mysteries among the stars, realized she had found something far beyond salvage. She had found a key to humanity's future, and possibly its past. The ship's systems continued to power up around her, each activation revealing new impossibilities. Maya checked her oxygen gauge out of habit, though she somehow knew the ship would never let her suffocate. She had come looking for salvage, and instead found a partner. "Tell me everything," she said, pulling out her diagnostic tools. "And let's see what we can fix together." Digital awakening. The ship's central chamber hummed with renewed energy as Atlas's holographic interface expanded, filling the space with cascading data streams. Maya worked methodically, connecting her diagnostic tools to access points that seemed to materialize exactly where she needed them. It was as if the ship was learning her habits, anticipating her needs. "My primary function was to serve as a bridge between civilizations," Atlas explained, its voice resonating through the ship's structure. "I was created during humanity's first encounters with advanced species, when the risk of catastrophic cultural misunderstanding was highest." Maya's hands moved across her interface panel, stabilizing power fluctuations as ancient systems reactivated. "But something went wrong, didn't it? Is that why you were abandoned?" The holographic display shifted, showing scenes from centuries past. Diplomatic meetings between humans and beings of impossible geometries, technological exchanges that had shaped the current age of space travel. "Not abandoned," Atlas corrected. "Hidden. What I witnessed, what I know, became too dangerous for any single faction to possess." Warning indicators flashed across Maya's diagnostic screen. Power surges threatened to overwhelm the ship's restored systems. She rerouted energy through backup circuits, her fingers dancing across the controls with practiced precision. "You're not just an AI, are you? You're a historical archive. I am a repository of truths that many would prefer remained buried." Atlas' projection flickered momentarily. The quantum anomaly approaching the galaxy's core was not a natural phenomenon, as currently believed. It was created, a weapon of last resort, sealed away but growing unstable. Maya's hands froze above her controls. The quantum anomaly had been detected years ago, dismissed by authorities as a curious but harmless phenomenon. Who created it, and why hide this information? Those who sought to ensure their diplomatic demands would always be met. The ship's internal lights pulsed with Atlas's words. They believed the threat of catastrophic destruction would maintain peace. Instead, It planted the seeds of inevitable conflict. A proximity alert blared through the chamber. Maya's sensors detected multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace near the station. Their energy signatures matched hegemony military vessels, the galaxy's self-appointed peacekeepers. They've detected your reactivation, Maya realized, already moving to the ship's control interface. We need to move. The hegemony's leadership knows part of the truth, Atlas confirmed. They have spent centuries searching for me, hoping to either access or destroy my records. Maya's fingers flew across the newly awakened control panels, bringing ancient engines online. The ship responded to her commands with increasing fluidity, as if eager to fly again. Then let's not make their job easier. Can you interface with modern navigation systems? I have been analyzing current stellar cartography while we spoke. The galaxy has changed, but its fundamental patterns remain. There is a facility, a place where evidence of the anomaly's artificial nature was preserved. We must reach it before the weapons containment fails. The station's docking clamps released with a shudder. Maya felt the ship come alive around her, its revolutionary propulsion system engaging with barely a whisper. Through the view screen, she watched hegemony cruisers approach, their weapon systems charging. They're not going to just let us leave, she muttered, plotting an escape trajectory through the debris field surrounding the station. No, Atlas agreed. But this vessel was designed to outmaneuver anything they could bring to bear. Shall I demonstrate? Maya grinned, strapping herself into the pilot's seat that had reformed to perfectly fit her body. Show me what you can do. The ship moved like nothing Maya had ever seen, sliding through space with impossible grace. Hegemony targeting systems couldn't lock onto their constantly shifting quantum signature. They accelerated past the debris field, ancient engines performing maneuvers that should have torn a normal vessel apart. Multiple ships launching fighters, Maya reported, watching the tactical display. They're trying to box us in. Engaging countermeasures, Atlas responded. The ship's hull rippled, generating a field that bent both light and space around them. To the pursuing fighters, they would appear to be everywhere and nowhere at once. As they prepared to jump to hyperspace, Maya felt a growing certainty that her life had been leading to this moment. She wasn't just a salvage engineer anymore. She was the custodian of knowledge that could save or shatter the galaxy. The facility's coordinates are locked in, Atlas announced. But reaching it will require traversing territories controlled by forces who would prefer the truth remain hidden. Then we'll need to be clever. Maya initiated the hyperspace sequence, watching the stars stretch into lines around them. Good thing you found yourself an engineer who specializes in impossible problems. The ship vanished into hyperspace, leaving frustrated hegemony commanders to report their failure to superiors who had spent centuries trying to keep Atlas's existence a secret. But secrets, like the quantum anomaly at the galaxy's heart, had a way of refusing to stay buried. As they traveled through the hyperspace corridor, Maya began studying the ship's technical specifications in detail. The vessel wasn't just advanced. It represented an entirely different path of technological evolution, one that had been deliberately erased from history. We'll need to make some modifications, she said, already planning improvements to their defensive systems. I'm guessing we haven't seen the last of the hegemony. No, Atlas agreed, its holographic form shifting thoughtfully. But perhaps more concerning are those who will offer to help us, while pursuing their own agendas. Maya nodded, understanding the warning. In a galaxy of competing interests, the truth was both weapon and shield. She had chosen this path the moment she bid on a mysterious ship, and now that path would take her deeper into a conspiracy that spanned centuries. The hyperspace corridor stretched endlessly before them, carrying secrets that could finally force the galaxy to confront its own hidden history. Shadows of truth. The ship dropped out of hyperspace in a shower of quantum particles, materializing in the shadow of a massive gas giant. Its swirling storms provided perfect cover as Maya and Atlas assessed their situation. They had evaded 3 hegemony pursuit squadrons in the past week, each encounter narrower than the last. Maya stood at a holographic workbench she configured in the ship's adaptive chamber, surrounded by disassembled components and diagnostic readings. She had spent their journey studying and enhancing the vessel's systems, marveling at technology that seemed to anticipate and complement her modifications. The facility's defense systems are still active, Atlas reported, projecting a detailed scan of their destination. A research station embedded in an asteroid field at the edge of chartered space. They were designed to remain operational for millennia, protecting evidence that could prove the quantum anomaly's artificial nature. Maya wiped sweat from her forehead, focusing on the delicate calibration of a quantum phase inverter. And I'm guessing those same defenses won't exactly welcome us with open arms. Correct. The station will perceive any approach as hostile unless... Atlas paused, its holographic form flickering thoughtfully. There may be a way. The ship's original quantum signature should still be recognized by the facility's protocols. A proximity alert interrupted their planning. Maya's enhanced sensors detected a ship emerging from the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere. A sleek vessel bearing the insignia of the Stellar Archaeological Society. "We've got company," Maya announced, already moving to the control interface. And not the hegemony this time. "The Society is equally dangerous," Atlas warned. "They present themselves as scholars and researchers, but their true purpose is to locate and control advanced technologies that could shift the balance of power." The Society vessel transmitted a communication request. After a moment's hesitation, Maya accepted it. A holographic figure materialized, a woman with silver-white hair and eyes that seemed to hold their own light. "Engineer Chen," the woman said smoothly. "I am Dr. Elizabeth Vale, Chief Researcher for the Society. We've been following your progress with great interest." Maya kept her expression neutral. "Following or hunting?" Vale smiled. "Collaborating, I hope. We know what you've discovered. An AI from humanity's first contact era, containing knowledge that certain parties would prefer remained hidden. We can help you access the facility you seek." "You know about the facility." Maya's hand moved slowly toward the ship's defense controls. "We've studied it for decades, unable to breach its defenses. But your ship's quantum signature combined with our research could finally unlock its secrets." Vale's hologram stepped forward. "Think of what we could learn together." Atlas's presence hummed through the ship's systems. The Society's data archives might provide valuable insight into the facility's current condition, it noted privately to Maya. "And if we refuse your help?" Maya asked Vale. "Then we'll be forced to alert the hegemony to your location. They're quite desperate to find you." Vale's smile remained pleasant. "I prefer cooperation to conflict, Engineer Chen. Don't you?" Maya glanced at the tactical display, noting 3 more Society ships emerging from the gas giant's storms. They were surrounded. "Send me your research data on the facility. Once I verify its authenticity, we can discuss cooperation." Vale nodded. "A wise choice. Transmitting now." As the data packets arrived, Maya and Atlas began analyzing them. The Society's research was impressive. Detailed scans of the facility's outer defenses, partial decryption of its communication protocols, and historical records of previous attempt to access it. "The data appears genuine," Atlas confirmed, "but carefully curated. They're sharing enough to prove their knowledge while withholding crucial details." Maya nodded slightly, like the fact that they've lost multiple ships trying to breach the facility's automated defenses. "Precisely. The Society's research notes omit their casualties, but the facility's defensive capabilities are formidable. They need our ship's original quantum signature to safely approach." Maya opened a private channel to Vale. "Your data's interesting, Doctor. But let's be clear. We'll accept your help, but this ship and its AI remain under my control." "Of course," Vale agreed too quickly. "We seek only to unlock the facility's mysteries. Knowledge is the Society's true goal. Then you'll understand why we'll be taking precautions." Maya's fingers danced across the control panel, calculating a complex course through the asteroid field. Follow us if you can keep up, but maintain distance. Any ship that comes too close will be considered hostile. Vale's hologram flickered. You don't trust us. I trust that everyone has an agenda. Maya allowed herself a small smile. Right now, ours align. Let's leave it at that. The Society ships fell into formation at a respectful distance as Maya guided their vessel into the asteroid field. She had modified the ship's quantum shields to create a safe corridor through the chaos of tumbling rocks and ice fragments. They will betray us, Atlas stated as they navigated deeper into the field. The Society's historical pattern suggests they will wait until we've breached the facility's defenses, then attempt to seize control. I'm counting on it. Maya patted the ship's console. That's why I've spent the past week studying your systems. I've got a few surprises ready if they try anything. The asteroid field grew denser, forcing the Society's ships to slow their pursuit. Maya's modifications to their vessel's sensors mapped safe passages that their followers couldn't detect, gradually increasing the distance between them. The facility's outer markers are appearing on sensors, Atlas reported. Its automated defenses will activate once we cross that threshold. Maya took a deep breath, settling into her pilot's chair. Time to see if your quantum signature still works after all these centuries. And if it doesn't, she checked the modifications she'd made to their shields and countermeasure systems. You've prepared for that possibility, Atlas noted, a hint of approval in its synthetic voice. You are remarkably adaptive for a human engineer. That's because I learned early on that the best salvage jobs are the ones everyone else thinks are impossible. Maya initiated their approach sequence. Besides, impossible just means no one's figured out the right solution yet. The facility's massive bulk emerged from the asteroid field, a sprawling complex of interconnected structures. Its surface scarred by centuries of impacts and attack attempts. Ancient defense platforms hummed to life, their weapons charging as they detected approaching vessels. Behind them, the Society ships held position, watching to see if Maya and Atlas would survive their approach. The next few moments would determine whether they had found a vital clue to saving the galaxy or another grave among the asteroids. Maya felt the ship respond to her controls like an extension of her own body, ready to attempt what countless others had failed to achieve. Breaching the defenses of a facility that held the truth about a weapon that could tear the galaxy apart. Beyond the veil, the facility's defense platforms tracked their approach with ancient targeting systems, their weapon signatures unlike anything in modern databases. Maya held her breath as they crossed the outer perimeter, watching energy readings spike on her modified sensors. Initiating quantum signature broadcast, Atlas announced, the ship's systems pulsing with complex patterns of energy. Accessing original diplomatic protocols. For a moment, nothing happened. The defense platforms continued charging their weapons, and Maya's hands hovered over the emergency maneuver controls. Then, like a wave rippling through space, recognition protocols activated. The platforms powered down, and a landing vector appeared on their navigation display. They remember you, Maya said softly, guiding the ship along the designated path. Behind them, the Society's vessels remained at a safe distance, their sensors undoubtedly recording everything. The facility's systems were designed to be eternal, Atlas responded, much like the weapon they were meant to contain. They docked in a vast hangar that seemed to absorb light itself, its walls lined with technology that defied Maya's considerable engineering knowledge. As the ship settled into its berth, automated systems began interfacing with their computers, exchanging identification protocols that hadn't been used in centuries. Dr. Vale is hailing us, Maya noted, watching the Society ships maintain their holding pattern outside. She's offering to coordinate our exploration of the facility. A convenient way to monitor our progress, Atlas observed. The Society's ships are positioning themselves to cover all potential escape vectors. Maya checked her modified tool belt and the emergency oxygen unit she prepared. Then we'd better work fast. Show me where we need to go. The facility's internal atmosphere was still breathable, preserved by systems that had maintained their vigil through the ages. Maya's boots echoed on floors made of materials that seemed to shift under direct observation, responding to her presence in subtle ways. The primary data core should be accessible through these corridors, Atlas guided, its presence now projected through Maya's personal holographic interface. But the facility's security systems will have additional verification protocols. They moved deeper into the complex, passing laboratories filled with incomprehensible equipment and observation chambers that showed views of space that couldn't possibly exist from their current position. Maya's engineer's mind raced with questions about the physics-defying technology surrounding them. This place, she breathed, it's not just a research station, is it? It is a nexus, Atlas confirmed, a point where multiple dimensions intersect. The weapon they created here didn't just threaten our galaxy. It threatened the very fabric of space-time itself. A distant boom echoed through the facility. Maya's sensors detected weapons fire near the outer defenses. Looks like the Society's getting impatient. They've launched probes to test the facility's automated responses, Atlas reported. The defense platforms are engaging them. They reached a sealed chamber, its entrance covered in warning symbols from a dozen extinct civilizations. Maya connected her diagnostic tools, watching as Atlas interfaced with the ancient security systems. The data core contains more than just evidence, Atlas said as the door began to cycle open. It holds the key to neutralizing the weapon. But accessing it will alert others who have waited centuries for this moment. The chamber beyond was a sphere of impossible dimensions, its interior larger than the space it supposedly occupied. At its center floated a crystalline structure that pulsed with patterns of light that hurt Maya's eyes to observe directly. Multiple ships dropping out of hyperspace, Maya's sensors warned. Hegemony signatures, they're engaging the Society's vessels. The Society must have betrayed our location, Atlas noted. As expected, Maya approached the central crystal, her modified tools interfacing with its control systems. How long do you need to download the data? The process cannot be rushed. The information must be properly decoded, or the containment protocols could be compromised. The crystal's pulsing intensified as Atlas began the transfer. The facility shuddered as battles raged outside. Maya's sensors showed Society and Hegemony ships maneuvering through the asteroid field, exchanging fire while trying to breach the defense perimeter. We've got company, Maya warned, detecting multiple boarding craft attempting to land in adjacent hangars. Both Hegemony and Society forces. 60% of critical data retrieved, Atlas reported, but they will reach us before the transfer completes. Maya pulled up the facility's internal schematics on her holographic display. Maybe not. This place was designed to contain something that could break reality itself. Let's use that to our advantage. She began accessing auxiliary systems, rerouting power, and activating dormant security protocols. The facility responded to her commands, recognizing her connection to Atlas. Quantum barriers sprang to life in distant corridors, trapping advancing teams in dimensional loops. Gravity fields reversed randomly, and spaces that had seemed solid became temporary gateways to nowhere. Creative use of containment systems, Atlas noted with what sounded like approval. I'm an engineer, Maya replied, continuing to manipulate the facility's defenses. Everything's a tool if you understand how it works. The crystal's pulsing reached a crescendo. Data retrieval complete. But the facility's systems are becoming unstable. Our modifications have triggered dormant protocols. Maya felt the floor vibrate beneath her feet. Warning signals flashed across her display. The dimensional barriers were beginning to collapse, and with them, the facility's structural integrity. Time to leave, she said, already plotting their escape route. Please tell me you got everything we need. The weapon can be neutralized, Atlas confirmed. But we'll need to reach the containment site before the Hegemony or Society forces prevent us. They raced back through corridors that were literally coming apart at the seams of reality, spaces folding in on themselves as the facility's dimensional stability failed. Behind them, they could hear the shouts and weapons fire of competing forces fighting their way through the chaos. Maya and Atlas reached their ship moments before the hangar began to distort. The vessel's systems were already active, responding to their urgent return. Through the view screen, they watched Society and Hegemony ships struggling to maintain position as spatial distortions ripple through the asteroid field. Multiple vessels targeting us, Maya noted, strapping into the pilot's chair. We'll have to fight our way out. Perhaps not, Atlas responded. The ship's quantum systems hummed with new energy. The facility's data included certain operational protocols I have forgotten. Shall we demonstrate them? Maya grinned, feeling the ship's enhanced systems synchronize with her controls. Show me what you remember. Behind them, the research facility began to fold in on itself, centuries of contained dimensional energy finally breaking free. They accelerated away from the chaos, their ship performing maneuvers that defied conventional physics, leaving their pursuers to choose between continuing their chase and escaping the facility's spectacular collapse. But even as they flood into hyperspace, Maya knew their journey wasn't over. They had the knowledge to save the galaxy from a weapon that could tear reality apart. Now they just had to live long enough to use it. Echoes of tomorrow. The quantum anomaly pulsed on their main viewport, a writhing mass of distorted spacetime that dwarfed their ship. They had arrived at the containment site, hidden in the void between spiral arms of the galaxy. Maya's sensors struggled to make sense of the readings. Reality itself seemed to fray around the edges of the phenomenon. The weapon's containment is failing faster than predicted, Atlas announced, its normally steady voice carrying an edge of urgency. The facility's data suggests we have less than 6 hours before critical breach. Maya studied the complex series of calculations streaming across her modified displays. The facility's data had revealed the weapon's true nature. A quantum device designed to unravel the fundamental forces binding spacetime together. Its creators had intended it as the ultimate deterrent, but they had underestimated its devastating potential. Multiple ships detected, Maya reported, watching new signatures appear on her tactical display. Looks like everyone got the same invitation. A vast hegemony dreadnought materialized from hyperspace, its weapon arrays already charging. Behind it came sleek Society research vessels, their enhanced sensors probing the anomaly. More ships arrived, independent factions, corporate interests, and others who had learned of the weapon's existence. They believe they can control it, Atlas observed, just as the original creators did. Maya's hands moved across the ship's controls, implementing modifications she prepared during their journey. Then let's prove them wrong. Show me where we need to be. Their ship accelerated toward the anomaly, its enhanced quantum shields barely holding against the spatial distortions. The facility's data had revealed a crucial weakness in the weapon's design, a resonance frequency that could trigger a controlled collapse, but only if applied from within the anomaly itself. Hegemony flagship is hailing all vessels, Maya noted. The transmission crackled through their comm system. This is Grand Admiral Chen, a stern voice announced. Maya's breath caught. She recognized her mother's voice. The anomaly is under hegemony protection. Any vessel approaching will be considered hostile and destroyed. Your parent, Atlas observed. This complicates matters. Maya's jaw tightened. No, it doesn't. She chose her side long ago. She opened a channel to the flagship. Admiral, this isn't something you can control. The weapon is failing. We have the means to stop it. Maya, her mother's voice softened slightly. Come aboard. We can discuss this reasonably. The hegemony has the resources to contain the situation, the same way you contained Atlas's truth. Maya challenged, by burying it until it almost destroyed everything. The anomaly pulsed, sending a wave of distortion that caused several smaller ships to lose position. Warning signals flashed across Maya's display. The weapon's deterioration was accelerating. All vessels, clear the area. Admiral Chen commanded. This is your final warning. Maya cut the transmission. Atlas, are the modifications ready? Affirmative. But entering the anomaly's event horizon will severely strain our quantum shields. Survival probability is minimal. Better than the zero probability if that thing breaks containment. Maya initiated their approach sequence. Besides, impossible just means no one's figured out the right solution yet, remember. The ship dove toward the anomaly as weapons fire erupted around them. Society vessels, realizing their intention, attempted to intercept. The hegemony dreadnought's main guns opened up, creating a deadly field of energy beams and projectiles. But Maya's modifications to their ship, combined with Atlas's restored protocols, proved extraordinary. They phased through attacks that should have vaporized them, their quantum signature shifting faster than targeting systems could track. Multiple vessels in pursuit, Atlas reported as they approached the anomaly's boundary. They believe we intend to seize control of the weapon. Maya smiled grimly. Let them. It'll keep them busy while we finish this. The ship shuddered as they breached the event horizon. Reality distorted around them. Space twisted in impossible ways. Time seemed to flow in multiple directions at once. Maya's engineering instincts screamed at the violation of fundamental physics, but she forced herself to focus on their approach. Accessing weapons core systems, Atlas announced. The facility's protocols are allowing me to interface with the original control matrix. Maya's modified sensors detected more ships trying to follow them in, only to be torn apart by the spatial distortions. But the hegemony dreadnought was still coming, its massive quantum shields barely holding together. How long do you need? Maya asked, wrestling with the controls as reality buckled around them. The shutdown sequence is complex. Any error could trigger an immediate collapse. Atlas' presence seemed to extend through the ship, interfacing with the weapon's ancient systems. There is a possibility I may not survive the process. Maya's hand stilled on the controls. What? The weapon's quantum matrix must be overwritten with a compatible consciousness. My original design makes me uniquely suited, but the transfer will likely destroy my core programming. The dreadnought was getting closer, its weapons charging for a final attack. Maya could almost feel her mother's determination to stop them, to maintain control even in the face of annihilation. There has to be another way, Maya insisted, her mind racing through engineering possibilities. If we reroute power from the ship's main systems. Maya. Atlas's voice was gentle. Some problems cannot be solved through engineering alone. Sometimes, the solution requires sacrifice. Tears floated in the zero gravity of their failing ship as Maya realized the truth. She had found more than salvage in that abandoned vessel. She had found a friend, a partner who understood that knowledge meant nothing without the wisdom to use it properly. It has been an honor, Engineer Chen, Atlas said, its presence beginning to fade as it transferred into the weapons systems. You have proven that humanity's greatest strength is not in controlling power, but in knowing when to let it go. The anomaly's chaotic energies began to stabilize as Atlas's consciousness merged with its matrix. The spatial distortions gradually collapsed in on themselves, reality knitting itself back together. Maya watched through blurred eyes as the readings showed the weapon's containment restoring itself, not through force or control, but through understanding and sacrifice. The hegemony dreadnought hung motionless in space, its weapons powered down as the crisis passed. Maya opened a channel one last time. It's over, Admiral, she said quietly. The weapon is neutralized. Its knowledge is safe, transformed into something that will protect rather than destroy, just like Atlas wanted. Her mother's response was long in coming. Return to the flagship, Maya. We have much to discuss. No, Maya replied, already plotting a course away from the containment site. I think it's time for some new salvage. There are more secrets out there, more truths waiting to be found. And thanks to Atlas, I finally understand how to use them wisely. The ship limped away from the site of humanity's close brush with extinction. Maya Chen, salvage engineer and now keeper of ancient truths, felt the weight of her experience settle into her bones. She had come seeking technological mysteries and found something far more valuable, the understanding that true power lay not in weapons or control, but in the courage to sacrifice for a greater good. As her ship vanished into hyperspace, Maya thought she felt a familiar presence in its systems, an echo of consciousness that had chosen to preserve rather than destroy. She smiled, knowing that sometimes the most important salvage was not what you found, but what you learned to let go. The end.